Satya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girbaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girbaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girbaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girbaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girbaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girbaradhari Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gaura Hare Gaura Hare Gaura Hare Jaya Gaura Hare Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Sri Radhanath ki, Sri Giriraj Govardhan ki, Sri Gauranga Prabhu Gaur Hari ki, Sri Panchatattva ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Bhaktivedanta Purports ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming this morning. So we're continuing with reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 4, Chapter 21, text number 5. The chapter is called Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Praisya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavaduttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So we read everybody repeat. Sanka Dudubi Goshena Brahma Goshena Cha Ritvijam Vivesha Bhavanam Viraha Stuya Amana Gatasmaya Sanka Dudubi Goshena Dudubi Goshena Sanka Dudubi Goshena Brahma Goshena Chatvijam Vivasha Bhagavan Vira Vivasha Bhavanam Vira Tuya mano gatasmaya, mana gatasmaya, sankad dundubi goshena, Brahma goshena chatvijam, Vivisha bhavanam vedha, Stuya mana gatasmaya, Sankadundu bigoshena, Brahma goshena chatpijam, Vivasha bhavanam vera, Stuyamana gatasmaya. Sankadundu bigoshena, Brahma goshena chatvijam, Vivesha bhavanam viraha, Tuyamano gatasmaya. Sanka, not Sankhya, Sanka, conch shells. Dundubi, kettle drums. Goshena, by the sound of Brahma, Vedic, Goshena, chanting, Cha, also, Ritvijam, of the priests, Vivesha, entered, Bhavanam, the palace, Viraha, the king, Stuyamana, being worshipped, Gatasmaya, without pride. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the king entered the palace, conch shells and kettle drums were sounded, priests chanted Vedic mantras, and professional reciters offered different prayers. But in spite of all the ceremony, to welcome him, the king was not the least bit affected. Everyone repeat response. When the king entered the palace, conch shells and kettle drums were sounded. Priests chanted Vedic mantras, and professional reciters offered different prayers. But in spite of all the ceremony, to welcome him, the king was not at least but affected. Purport. The reception given to the king was full of opulence, yet he did not become proud. It is said, therefore, that great personalities of power and opulence never become proud. And the example is given that a tree which is full of fruits and flowers does not stand erect in pride, but instead bends downwards to show submissiveness. This is the sign of the wonderful character of great personalities. Om Jnana Timrindasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunumalitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghunath Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Pitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it is a wonderful example of a leader, King Prithu, who's not only the king of one state, he's the emperor of the whole earth planet. So he's showing here the epitome of what is humility, what is to be humble. And being a king normally is rich. You associate a king with big palace, horses and queens, wealth, gold, isn't all this crown, isn't? So many things that go with being a king, isn't? Power, isn't? To rule, power to make decisions, power to fight in wars, isn't? King goes out, sets the example, leads by example. He's a Kshatriya. And least, most important of all, the king is surrendered to God. He's God, following the instructions of God. He's Raja Rishi. Raja Rishi, a saintly king. 5,000 years ago, the kings were very saintly. Yes. Very, very saintly. Of course, we had one or two rascal kings, like Hiranyakashipu, Ravan, Kamsa. But the Lord comes to teach them lessons. Parichanaya sadhunam, vinasaya chaduskritam. I come to protect my devotees, parichanaya sadhus, to give darshan to the sadhus. And same time too, vinasaya chaduskritam, to annihilate the miscreants. So this is the duty of a king. When he sees wrong, he puts it right. He puts it right immediately. And the king, when the good king is there, then it benefits all the people. All the people become happy. When a leader is, good, he has good karma, we'll say, or good, auspicious. Everything comes auspicious when a king is rightfully in position of leading people. The rainfall will come on time, the crops will grow nicely, the rivers will flow nicely, and there will be abundance of fruit and vegetables, and cows will give lots of milk, and people will become prosperous. And the king, of course, he taxes, but he does not cheat. He does not overtax. King has to tax. That's his duty, to tax from everything. So the treasury, so he can run the country, isn't properly. So this king, Maharaj Prithu, is glorified because before him there was another very bad king named King Vena. And King Vena, this is a story we're following up in the previous chapters. King Vena was very bad. Said when he was born, his father could not even correct him. He was just a bad. From very young, he would play with his friends and playfully would choke them, break their hands, and think nothing of it. Imagine killing your best friends, choking them, or strangling them, and he gets pleasure out of that. He was such a demoniac person. And his father tried to correct him many times. Could not. So one night the father left home, being very embarrassed by the son. He left home, never to come back. He left the palace and he went away. So eventually this Vena became the king. And when he became the king, he stopped all the Vedic sacrifices. What that means, they put all the Brahmanas out of unemployment. No work for them. And because the Brahmanas couldn't do sacrifice or perform Agnihotra sacrifices, fire sacrifice, there was no rain. But the demigods are pleased when The demigods become pleased when they are offered oblations. It's like that. To please the demigods, then they will in turn give you many things, many material things. So because all this was stopped, the rain stopped coming and the land there was drought, there was famine, and people were suffering. No food. And the rogues were flourishing. But one thing this king did, he chased those rogues. They would flee from him. He was very set on that. The only good thing he did was chase all the rogues away, the thieves and rogues and criminals. They were very afraid of him. But other than that, he did many bad things. So the Brahmanas, the heads of society, the Pandits, they said, no, man, we have to do something. So they had a meeting and they said, no, we have to do away with this king. So they put him away. And this is how Prithu came into power. Prithu was born like that. I'm not going into all the details of the story, but then Prithu became the next king. From very young, the people were, they already saw, just by his birth, the auspiciousness of his birth, they said he will be a very good leader. And they were praising him, but he didn't like that. He didn't want to be praised. No, what if I don't deliver the goods? You're praising me now. What if I don't meet up to expectations? Then you'll want to hang me. So he didn't like that. But anyway, because he was, and everything flourished, isn't everything? The seeds, and plants were growing, and the wheat was rice, and all the different grains were flourishing. Rainfall was coming. So all this is due to auspiciousness. A good personality brings auspiciousness. A good leader especially brings auspiciousness to a country. And when the people are happy, then the king is always, the king is that his duty, his responsibility is to protect the citizens. Nowadays we get overtaxed and there's no protection. The criminals isn't doing so much of nonsense. There's corruption. But it wasn't like that 5,000 years ago. It was very order. There was order. There was and very systematic. And the Brahmanas knew what they had to do. The Kshatriyas knew what they had to do. And the Vaishyas, the Vaishyas are the business. They keep cows and farms, and they knew what they had to do. And the Sudras, they were the general mass of craftsmen, and they all combined together and cooperated with each other because of a good king, good leader. Hare Krishna, Sri Sri Radharanath ki, Sri Giriraj Govardhan ki. So in this verse, the analogy of the fully laden fruit tree. When a tree, we notice that, isn't it? When you see mango trees full of mangoes or lychees, now you drive around, and they are all, because of the weight of the fruit, they sag, they sag. They're not straight like this. Being straight like this is considered to be proud. You're full of pride, isn't it? Whereas a person who's humble, he's always submissive. He's offering obeisances and pranams. Vancha kalpa, that's what we chant. This mantra, Vancha kalpa, tarubhyascha, kripa sindhu bhyevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo. This is proper respect shown by Vaishnavas to other Vaishnavas or to other people in general also. A Vaishnava is very, very big. Vaishnava is very beneficial to society. They are very, very beneficial. So Prithu Maharaj is described like that. And this tree, he says, when he was coming back to his palace, just like Ram was coming back from exile, and the people all were very happy, and all the streets were decorated, very beautifully watered, scented, isn't? And it was a festival atmosphere. So like that. And Ram, of course, Ram is also described as a very righteous king, a very powerful king. And the people were very happy. So likewise, Prithu Maharaj in that same tradition of being a king and how to rule the kingdom. Bhagavad Gita says, in chapter 3, it says, Yad yad acharati shastas tat tat eva taro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. So whatever great men do, common men follow. And whatever standard they set by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So we want a leader like that to inspire us, isn't it? Set by good examples, by examples. And Krishna also, as the Supreme Personal Godhead, he said that, he is Dharma personified. And yeah, we see pictures where that one is bathing the feet. I think it's somewhere here. Somewhere there. Krishna is the king, is the prince in Dwarka, and his friend comes after a long time. His friend is a Brahmana, he's very poor, and he comes to visit him. And Krishna welcomes him. First thing, he bathes his feet. After a long journey, he's tired. Bathes his feet, offers him harti, and feeds him nicely. This is all to show how to receive. It's called Atiti Seva. Atiti Seva means even a stranger comes to your house, you have to, even an enemy comes to your house, you have to show respect and make them feel that they are not enemies. You cannot do that nowadays, isn't it? Yeah, but because of the rulers are corrupt, so naturally the people also become corrupt. So if the head is right, then everything, the shoulder, the hands, all will cooperate nicely. So it's about good government. Good government prevails, and people are happy. Kings and queens. Now we have what we have? Democracy. What is democracy? So, some person gets into power by popular vote. He can be the most rascal of persons, but because people like him, they vote for him. Like we see nowadays. Criminals get into power, become leaders. So you can imagine what will the country be like? What will the world be like? The world, especially if it's a world leader or something. And then it's very, very bad. It's very ominous. Very, very inauspicious. So this king, when all this worship was being, all these beautiful mantras were chanted, he said, Dundubi, kettle drums, a tumultuous sound greeted him, and the Vedic mantras were chanted by these priests, the upper class of the king, and then there was also the general mass of people were there, and they all were in unison, greeting this king. But he did not look at them straight and starts laughing at them or showing his teeth. No, he was very grave, full of gravity, and he bowed his head, like the analogy is given of the tree, isn't that tree bowing down with its fruit, full of fruit. So likewise the king, he bowed, he accepted all this worship in a mood of submission, not pride, of humility, thinking that he's not worthy of this worship. Similarly, when during Vyasa Puja, we worship our spiritual master, isn't? And there's lots of people, and they all bathing his feet and offering flowers and glorifying him with offerings of wonderful words, self-realized words, realization. But the spiritual master is not smiling at them or showing his teeth. No, he's in complete meditation His head is bowed down, his eyes are closed, and he's offering all this worship to his predecessors, to the previous acharyas, and eventually to the Supreme Personality of God. So this is humility. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada defines humility. What is the definition of humility? No. Ranga, what is the definition of humility? Yes, very good. That's in Prabhupada quotes like that in the 13th chapter. The not to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. Yeah. The material conception of life makes us eager to receive honor from others. When we materially engrossed in material life, then we look for this kind of, isn't we? Want this name and fame. Want our name to be in light, so we do something and we accept something in return. So this is not humility, this is pride. But yeah, you're saying, yeah. The material conception of life makes us eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor and dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. Is useless. So this is the mood of Maharaj Prithu. He is not looking for such honor and dishonor. No. Or name and fame. He is simply out of devotion to and he encouraged also by his example. He taught the citizens how to perform yagyas, not for their pleasure, but for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, one who understands me as that, the Bhoktaram Jagya Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that I am the beneficiary, one who understands that, of all your sacrifices and all your penances, and I am the control of all the universes and the demigods, and I am the well-wishing friend of everyone. So this is mood to understand, have that realization that whatever we do in terms of spiritual life, in terms of devotional activities, that we don't take credit for it. We give the credit to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to the predecessor acharyas who have paved the way for us due to their compassion, and they have given us this wonderful mode of service, unalloyed service. So this is, King Prithu is in this mood, that he is not taking the credit, he's not saying no, he's very, very humble about it. Humility, it's full of humility. And Prabhupada says, one should not be hankering after this material deception. It's very deceiving. People, one day they'll praise you, and another day they want to hang you, isn't it? Like, we see even leaders of societies, isn't it? Of countries. Some point people will praise them, and another time they want to hang them or get rid of them, isn't it? Because so this is all a false deception of that type of humility, or false humility. You see, yeah. So this is very wonderful mood of this leader, and we want to emulate, not imitate, but emulate such personalities by our and be inspired by such personalities. Maharaj Prithu is glorified because in the 9 angas of devotion is glorified as who performed the worship of the Lord to such an extent. He took it to another level. Therefore he is glorified for that. Archana siddhi, archana of worship, deity worship. And the personality is glorified for that is Maharaj Prithu. So this is a short purport. I just thought I'll share something with you all. Any questions or comments on that? Yes? Rachel, bring him in.
Hare Krishna. Earlier on you were speaking about King Vena, and King Vena is basically compared to the leaders of today. They're basically rogues and thieves and plunderers. They're plundering the taxes of the citizens for their own benefits. So the least we could do is, follow the laws of the country and be good citizens and take up to Krishna consciousness in order to make this world peaceful in one sense, and bring about good progeny as well, so that in the future we have good leaders and good Samaritans to actually run the country. So that's my take on it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just comment on that. For Srila Prabhupada put great emphasis on, when Prabhupada went he would go to universities, all the top universities of America, and preach, because all the future leaders were students of universities, and they impress on them from grassroots level that impress on them this Krishna consciousness movement, this power of this movement, how powerful it is, how it will change the dynamics of this world. Especially the leaders have that, they could change things, but they have to be, take it to have a shift of consciousness also, a paradigm shift of consciousness, so that they could influence, because leaders can influence whatever they do, people will follow, especially when they're in power like that. So, Prabhupada wanted to make inroads into these universities or places of where leaders would come from. And we also see that we are doing a lot of the Bhakti Yoga Society in universities. Is also trying those University of Witwatersrand in Cape Town, Durban, all over Pihi. There's all over the world. This university preaching is very important, because our leaders are coming from such, and we have to, of course, impress upon them through this Krishna consciousness movement. Thank you. Gora?
Krishna, bro. I was just thinking, based on what Mother Ranga was saying, but also like how Prabhupada was saying, we read in the Bhagavatam, Kalo Sudra Sambhava, everyone is a fallen and a Sudra, but the only thing that will save us is the chanting of the holy name and Harinam Sankirtan. And even though we're reading through this whole section about Maharaj Prithu and, what a good leader, ideal monarch should be, we will probably never experience that. But our only saving grace is Sankirtan Yajna. And I was just thinking how, there are so many pastimes when, in Prabhupada's time, where the devotees, they would go to places and there would be droughts or something, an instability, but the fact that they did Harinam Sankirtan, then the rain would come and all of these auspicious things would come, and Prabhupada would say, yes, it's because of the chanting of the Lord's holy name.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's hard for the materialists to understand that, how this, it's very difficult for them to understand. They say, work is their God, isn't? For a materialist, you work hard and money. Work becomes your God. Money becomes your God. But the holy name, the holy names can change the whole atmosphere, can change the whole mood of, because it's so powerful. It's coming from the spiritual world, and it has that impact. It can impact on those who are hearing the holy names. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya stressed that, isn't? Every town and village the Harinam Sankirtan will go to, isn't? And not only in India, but globally throughout the world. And we see that the inroads all over the major cities of the world is Harinam. But that is the Sankirtan, for this, especially for this yuga. The stressing on that, the chanting of the holy names is a yuga dharma for this age, and we have to impress on that, and we have to also become convinced of that. If we're not convinced that the holy name is the key to everything, then how will we convince others? If we're not convinced that Krishna is God, how will we convince others? And Prabhupada one time was with his GBC leaders, and he said, Krishna is God, and he banged the table. Are you convinced that Krishna is God? So we have to have that conviction. And that takes some conviction to become convinced and become attached to the holy name. And that is the only thing that will make a difference to this world, chanting of Hare Krishna. Simple as that. Simply chant Hare Krishna, and everyone will benefit, even the trees, the plants, even those who are atheists, those are criminals, can benefit from this chanting of Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki